I fucking love this. You did put some thought into it.
Oh yeah. Boy, this is my favorite band.
Love it. That was actually fun. Thanks for having me. It's great.
Thank you for coming down.
Fighting the hole, singing and crying. La, 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 I am coming. I was actually doing like Vikings magic on the way here.
Oh yeah? Talk to me a little bit about it.
Have you ever watched the show Vikings?
No,
It's
I
like
haven't.
I think it's a Nat Geo show. I'm not sure, or History Channel or something weird where it's like you're halfway through the season and you realize you haven't really seen that much blood and gore, but it's really good.
Gotcha.
It's like Game of Thrones-ish, Sons of Anarchy-ish. It's a mix between those two. And there's no blood, no gore, no real nudity that happens.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a really good show, Vikings. They're going to have a new season called Valhalla coming soon.
Oh, interesting.
So
and like,
that's a Viking song.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
I know the history of that song and everything.
And Floki, who's one of the characters, he always does like these little, kind of like hand.
Gotcha, like magical.
Yeah,
things.
like good juju movements, and I don't know, I connected with it, so I do it a lot.
That's cool. Well, like, I mean, Zeppelin, like, Jimmy Page is way into Aleister Crowley and, like, sacred geometry and all that, too. Like, because that, like, was, like, in Vikings, is that what they were kind of, like, going over? Like, some of, like, that kind of stuff?
I have no idea what those terms mean, but probably. That sounds about right. It feels like that's the energy. Because they were learning. I mean, they were still, drawing out maps, and you find, part of the thing was they had this corner of the map and someone revealing like, oh, that's only a piece of it.
Yeah.
There's so much more. And I hated history as a kid.
Really?
In the 90s, having to learn about, but now that I'm 42, which I consider a mature enough age. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I know. It's one of those things where now I can appreciate, like, I have to know. I have a hunger for it because it does matter in terms of what's happening these days. There's references that I've heard my whole entire life that I've never, quote unquote, gotten.
Right.
Didn't really have a reason to, but now that I get them, I'm like, oh, I know why that's important now. So, history's cool, or whatevs.
Yeah. No, I've always loved history as a kid. I like,
Ew,
even
gross.
today. Yeah, I don't know why. It was just one of those things. I was just interested in it.
That's so gross.
But
Why?
I don't. Probably because my grandfather really, like, he is like really into the Civil War and all that. So I'd read stuff when I was younger on the Civil War. And also, History Channel at that time, like when I'm, this was like 2004 or something like that.
Had titties.
No, I wish. Like, National Geographic's where I go to because there'd be like some girl in Ethiopia. You know what I mean? I'm like, ah.
That's what my ex used to say. He'd always say, I love your African banana titties, which I probably should be offended by as a black woman with an old white man telling me that. But it was kind of cool, like, oh, yeah. African banana. Sorry, go ahead. It's gonna be like this all night.
And that's what I want. I just want to be like a conversation about it. You know what I mean? Getting to know one another. You know what I'm saying? But again, like just real quick, like in the History Channel, it's always like World War II, and so like kind of what we were talking about earlier with like guns and stuff. People just like shooting. It's like, oh, kind of interesting, and then you see like the craziness about it. And you're like, damn. So,
no, and the thing about these days is, I'm trying to find a comfy spot.
You're good.
The thing about these days is like, you saw that stuff, a while back, whenever I was a kid was.
Yeah.
And then again, you start coming into real life experiences where you see how much it matters, perspective, and things that people have gone through, and the time that we're in right now, American society-wise, wherever you are, north, south, east, or west,
Right.
We're in a space where it's really important, which I don't know if it'll ever happen, if it'll really happen, that people actually consider someone else's background and what they've gone through and what they've seen and what they've felt.
Yeah.
Because it's very different for all of us. And so trying to understand where someone else is coming from, I have to be privy to history.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to know, why the Jewish people are the way they are, why the stereotype is what it is.
Right.
You hear it when you're growing up, but if you didn't live it, you don't know why that's a thing and why it might be offensive to that person.
Yeah. No, exactly.
And that goes for a lot of shit these days, is how we all process it and interact with it,
Right. And there's always these days it always seems like something that's that's archaic. Why are we going back? Aren't we past this now, or something that just always seems like a resurgence of something? It's why is this occurring again? We've already gone through it.
But then I kind of feel like the resurgence of those archaic things require that simple of a solution,
Yeah.
I ask myself every day, several times a day, if something's happening in my life that's making me very uncomfortable. I always ask myself the 3 questions. Can I still eat when I'm hungry?
Right.
Because of this thing? Can I still sleep when I'm tired? Despite this thing?
Mm-hmm.
And can I still take a dump when I wake up after eating and sleeping? If I can still do those 3 primary functions, I'm okay with whatever I have to go through in life. Can I eat, sleep, and shit? Yes? Great. Perfect. Fine. I'm happy. I'm happy.
It's funny you say that, especially the last part, because I don't think anyone's, when people, go over, do I have this today? Do I have that? No one, never have I ever heard someone oh, man, can I take a good dump? Because if you don't have a place to shit or to wipe or clean up...
That shit matters.
Yeah, it
affects
matters.
Your whole entire life.
I've held, I've held it in for, days a couple of times because there's no place to go. You know what I mean? I don't know how, I just put it out of my mind. It's there ain't
have
nowhere
you ever
to go.
been, in a real-life position where it's no, I gotta shit right now and there's nowhere to go? There's always somewhere to go,
I
but
feel
it's
I
how
feel
willing am
I
I
have probably, but there's nothing coming to mind. I haven't had it yet to where it's no, I gotta drop my shit and go behind the fence. No, so far I've been fortunate enough that there's a place that's designated for that to go.
Have you gone on many road trips?
Yeah, I've gone on a good many of them. I mean, I've taken a piss in a lot of different places.
Gosh.
I don't count, but yeah,
Me
that's not dumping though.
No, I had to shit. So Jackie Pearl and I one day decided to. Well, not one day decided. It was planned. We're going down to Vegas because that's what us girls do every now and then. Jackie Pearl, God bless her.
Oh, yeah,
she is a
awesome.
wonderful soul.
Shout out to Jackie.
And she knows how to pluck me out of, things that I need to be plucked out of from time to time. Let's go to Vegas. That's how she says it. Let's go to Vegas. I'm going to drive. What time do you...
Oh, yeah.
That's my twin sister. I'll tell that story later if I remember. So we're on our way to Vegas, and my normal routine is to shit at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to wake up out of my sleep, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to take a shit.
That's the biological alarm clock there.
And to make it even worse, we stopped at Arby's.
Oh,
we're fucking doing squats at Arby's for whatever reason. Don't ask me, but we're doing squats in the Arby's line, waiting for our beef and cheddar or whatever it was, and the car's filling up with gas, and we're on our way to Vegas. And so I go to sleep because Jackie goes, "Don't worry, I'm driving. You're good. I know you've been at work all day. I'm going to take care of you. Go to sleep." And I got this bubbly water. Do not ever buy Topo Coco if you need to fucking go to sleep and not have the literal bubble guts, because there's so much carbonation in this Topo Coco Go-Go sparkling water.
Right.
Because I didn't want anything sugary. I didn't want anything sweet.
Yeah, you just want some
But the Arby's sandwich and the Toco Coco Bopo water was enough. That 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, I'm waking up in the passenger seat, and I'm like, this is not good. And Jackie's beating on the gas pedal because Jackie Pearl, in case anyone doesn't know it, I'm going to say it because she's probably said it in a podcast before. I don't think this is a secret. Jackie Pearl pisses a lot. Like every hour and a half she has to pee. So
I've ridden with her before. It didn't seem that bad.
The trip was probably only an hour and a half. So that's her tops. It's like, I got to stop somewhere and pee. And Jackie is half the size I am, in case anyone doesn't know. And if you're watching this video, like, Jackie Pearl is the size of this boot, and I'm me. And she can go pee anywhere because she's this big. And I'm like, a Nephilim or something.
Yeah. You're 3 Jackies.
3 of them at least. And so it's that daunting hour, if anyone has ever been a road warrior and driven. And my mom used to drive us across country all the time. So I remember this thing where gas stations, all of them, close at the same exact time, 2 o'clock to 2:45 a.m. to count their register and switch over for the next day.
Gotcha.
For whatever unholy reason, it's at 2 a.m. because I had to shit really bad and I needed a bathroom and I couldn't. And then we pull up to this gas. Anyways, I'm going to try and fast forward it. We get to the gas station. There's a group home, 2 group home trucks or whatever with like 80 people in them. 80. I bet it was like 80 each van. They all got to pee. They all got to poop at 2 in the morning. The guy's like, your privilege doesn't work here. That's what he told Jackie Pearl, because she really did. She literally was like, I'm going to try and pull my blonde-haired, blue-eyed, helpless white woman move. She literally said that. She's like, I'm going to try out my white privilege and try and get us into the bathroom. He did not let us in. And I'm like, I got to shit right now. She goes behind the dumpster to piss. And I try to go back there to shit, but my legs are too long to fit behind the dumpster. I can't squat. I can't. It's going to be everywhere. I can't. So we drive around this corner. I'm like, Jackie, just drive around the corner. Oh, I left out the part that we left that gas station and went to another one to find out that nobody was open, which I already knew. But anyways, we get to this empty parking lot. Fucking Jackie parks in the middle of it. I don't know why. For whatever reason, she didn't park by the dumpster that I was trying to get close to. There's tumbleweed. There's train tracks. There's a half of a brick wall and a dumpster. And I had to take off half my pants and shit on a tumbleweed in the middle of Highway 58 or 99. I don't know. It was terrible. So I did have to shit outside. I used a half roll paper towels to clean whatever I thought might have been around. I had a whole bucket full of hand sanitizer. It's terrible to have to shit outside.
Yeah, it is.
You can edit out 99% of that.
I could, but I think a lot of people want to hear that story. That's an interesting story.
What happened with the shit? I am shitting on a tumbleweed at 2 o'clock in the morning. Go, Jackie said.
No, like, I honestly, like, you girls always get the best, like, shitting and pissing stories. There's always, like, something that happens or whatever. Like, every time I hear something. But, like, no, I haven't been in that position yet where I've had to, like, just drop and, like, squat wherever.
The worst part is that I am a commuter, so I've been in a position where I've had to pee and there's nowhere to go. And I'm also a nurse, and I work in a nursing home, and every now and then we take shit home that we feel like we need. Like, it's only 82 cents for this bedpan, this plastic bedpan.
Yeah.
I keep an emergency bedpan in the trunk of my car.
Oh, that's a good idea right there.
Because I'd rather be able to sit a bedpan on I don't know, even if I had to sit on it on the ground with a I feel better than trying to, decide where the excrement goes.
Yeah.
But when I was packing for the trip, because I'm a habitual overpacker and I don't like for anyone to drive me anywhere.
Gotcha.
But Jackie Pearl's one of the few people that I'll go on a road trip with. I don't like to be driven, and I like to be in my comfort space of my car where I have all the shit that I need. A hammer, a fucking screwdriver, a bedpan, paper towels, hand sanitizer, a snack somewhere in here if everything's there. And I was pulling stuff out of my car to take on that trip, and I looked at the bedpan, I was like, I don't need that.
The one time.
When I don't follow my gut, it's always that one time I don't follow my gut. And I was so upset because I was like, if I had that bedpan, I could have easily sat it on the half wall and comfortably took a dump like this instead of, taking off half a pants leg and like squatting over a tumbleweed.
Yeah, like stripping for the night.
And now we can't pass a tumbleweed without Jackie going, Asia, you got to take a shit. And I'm like, no.
Like, Man, even like that seems like the most uncomfortable because like what's to stop it from like it's a tumbleweed? It could just blown like
I
right
know.
into
It
you
was
or
horrible.
something like
It
that.
was horrible, but it was there, and I couldn't hold it any longer. It had already by that time been like 18 minutes, and I was at my wits end with that shit that Arby's barbecue sauce.
Shit. And it's funny you even like say because like Arby's is my like out of fast food. That's my least favorite of the fast foods.
They don't really have it around, so you really don't eat Arby's. I remember eating as a kid, and I remember my mom loved the horsey sauce, and I hated it. But it was this weird, creamy, horseradish sauce.
Right.
But Arby's was, I think, the originator of the curly fry. If I'm wrong about that, I'll be wrong. But in Sacramento, California, that's the very first place that you saw a curly fry.
Really?
Was at Arby's.
I actually have to agree with you, probably.
Seriously.
I think when I was like, in the 90s when I was younger.
You have to think back, it was like the same time that Thrifty's ice cream was a thing with the fucking cylinder scoops instead of the cone, the sphere. It wasn't a sphere. So we had a Thrifty's and we had an Arby's on Powerin and Florin? No. Powerin and Florin.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. Real quick, as you said you came from Georgia. How long did you live out there for, and like when did you move to Sacramento and kind of did your family come here or was it?
Okay, so I'll give you the history. It's kind of like we're a military family, but not really.
Okay, I follow.
So members of the family are in the military, but we didn't move because we were in the military. I have this secret theory that my mom is wanted by the FBI. My sister and I, we check the list all the time because she's always moved us around. My dad is in the Army Reserves. There's no reason to...
Do you think it could be witness protection?
If your dad's in the Army Reserve, like, why do you... We're not moving because we're a military family, but we did it a lot. And it was always around Army bases. So I was born Fort Benning.
Okay.
Which is in Georgia.
Gotcha.
Chattahoochee County. I love just saying Chattahoochee because it just
Chattahoochee
totally embodies my personality. Like Chattahoochee. I don't know.
That's the fucking greatest name, dude.
The Chattahoochee River. I don't know why I had to say it like the Chattahoochee River.
Chattahoochee River.
Over there yonder, across the Chattahoochee. So I was born in Georgia.
Gotcha.
My older sister was born on Fort Ord, Monterey, Seaside. And we would bounce back and forth between Columbus, Georgia and Seaside, California between the times of when I was born in 1979 to 1989 when we finally moved to Sacramento and stayed here for fucking ever, and now this is home.
Gotcha.
So again, I don't know why my mom was constantly moving us, but she had a lot of husbands, and I kind of feel like she might have been wanted, but who knows? Might be wrong, might be right. I'll never tell you my maiden name. Will not be a part of my mother being bad boys. Okay, so we moved to Sacramento in '89. Because my stepdad at the time, he was working at Piggly Wiggly back south.
Gotcha. That's a southern thing there.
Definitely, and I miss it.
Yeah.
And he got an opportunity to work at the Albertsons grocery store here in Sacramento. Which now is like a Food Max or a Winco or some...
Gotcha.
I was gonna say some really fucked up shit, but I could
say it.
I was gonna say like some really food stampy kind of store. Like I didn't want to say that like that.
That paints a picture, though, man.
I'm gonna try and make it politically correct to say really EBT-ish.
EBT.
But it wasn't like that in the 90s. It was Albertsons, okay? It's fucking Albertsons.
No
they
EBT
like
in 90s.
Like they did take our food stamps because we had them, but my mom didn't want anyone to know, so we couldn't spend them until like after the 10th of the month. Like, wait till everyone else spends their food stamps and then we'll spend ours. Seriously. I got my check on the 1st, but we're not going to go to Pizza Hut until the 7th because then people will think it's my paycheck. Like, really, she made it really.
Damn, that
it was
is
crazy.
Like,
this is where all my psychoses come from. Like, we're poor, but I don't want to know it. We live in the ghetto, but we don't live in the ghetto.
She had a sense of pride about it. Like, that's like, again, like, that's like some quirkiness, but that's a mental toughness in a sense. You know what I mean?
It's mental toughness, and I felt like that at the time, but now that I have to be, again, an adult in my blackness.
And you're being real, yeah.
I find myself angry that my mom didn't teach us, I'm good now, how to live in our surroundings and be either a part of it or not, because you can't sit in this weird little space of, and I think that's my voice in comedy. I think that as a comedian, my voice is, I want to be real black, but I wasn't taught how to be that. But now that, things are so available to the public, with the internet and social media, and you having to respond and react to certain things, I don't feel comfortable stating my position because I know that it's flawed. But that's my experience. So it's like I get upset with my mom.
Like, when you say flawed, like, how do you mean, like, flawed?
I mean that I look at my blackness in a negative way sometimes. The fact that I have to sit here and talk to you in not Asia Sac South voice. South Sacramento Asia voice is completely different than how I'm talking right now. And I can switch it. No, you're always you.
Yeah.
But there is something psychologically within my brain that I cannot talk to a white person in my nigga voice. Okay, so I'm going to switch over.
I hear you.
And don't fucking freak out. But
no.
I've never done this with anyone.
That's good. That's cool, though.
So now I have to, like, turn on my...
No, don't be...
I'm a terrible actress.
I don't know. You're telling me, like, with you putting on, like I'm not talking to you with my like South Black, and I'm like this is Asia, as I've always like.
No, you don't know any different, and it's not a different person. It's just I communicate things differently. It's the same message, but. So if I was talking to my brother right now, I'd be sitting here talking like this and be like, "Hey, bruh, that nigga had me fucked up. I'm sitting over here dying, nigga. I am just." But that's not how I talk, right?
Yeah. If I can be honest. To me anymore, that to me is just like street in a sense. I don't really see it as racial because I know a lot of.
It's a camouflage that I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's very camouflage, and it depends on who I'm talking to. So if I'm at work and I'm in a professional setting, of course I'm not going to be South Sac Asia that used to do a lot of crazy shit that I don't want to say on camera because a lot of it I could probably.
There's a lot of crazy shit.
Probably suffer some really old consequences. Like, what is the statute on some shit that nobody knows I had a part of?
There's some shit that I'll say on stage. I'm like, this cannot be recorded.
No,
but it can be said.
I won't even say it out loud.
Did you guys eat yet?
No.
You guys want food?
Not if
spaghetti. I mean spaghetti and
not if it's Jenny O and fucking ground turkey.
Alright, whatever.
He said, alright, whatever.
I don't know. I mean, I'm cool at the moment, but thank you. Like I said, like we were gonna cook some brats.
Yeah, do your brat thing. It's good.
Later on, but
you,
cool.
Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
No, I was just fucking with you. Thank you, Adam. I love you for asking.
Yeah, I appreciate you, dude.
Yeah,
you tight.
I did. I gave him fair warning. I told him I don't like ground turkey and green things.
No, I remember it was funny. Like I don't do Jenny. If it's
Bro, I gotta fucking I gotta pact with myself. Like I will not do anything green. Like I have not tried an Impossible Burger. I have not.
Yeah, I don't have a desire for anything like that.
I don't have a desire. Like I love vegetables though. I'm not saying I don't. I know people who literally won't eat vegetables.
Dude, the other housemate Brian, he won't eat them at all. I've never seen anyone like that.
And that's terrible because
I'm just like I don't know, but I'm like I ain't never seen anything like that. Me like sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no, I just don't like things that are branded as healthy. I guess that's the idea. It's not that I don't like healthy things. I don't like things that are branded that way.
Yeah.
Like I think that you can still eat ground beef to an extent. Like if I got 93% beef and 7% fat ground beef, like that's a pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good mix of not being too fatty and not like it's still. I don't want to eat ground turkey, as opposed to ground beef in my spaghetti. I'm sorry, it's just my thing.
I got you.
I don't want Mrs. Dash. I want.
Well, the thing is with beef, like, if you're worried about, and I get it, like, there's, like, some things where they say, you know, if you eat too much red meat or whatever, like, I don't know.
You'll get gout.
Or you get heart attacks or whatever. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do, but I think you have to keep it balanced with, like, drinking healthy water and whatever. Because think about if you're, like, on, like, a caveman diet and, like, all you're, like, slaughtering is, like, elk or something that's, like, red meat, nothing's going to happen because your body, you know what I mean? You're so naturally, like, active and stuff that it's...
Well,
so I think a lot of things come, like, down to stuff like that. Is the balance.
It is. It's what you've had to, you know, process. And that's the thing is that it's, like... If you're balancing things, my ex-husband used to do all these different diets, and it's like, oh, we would get these big giant boxes full of freaking cereal and powdered stuff from Weight Watchers or whatever program he was doing at the time. His big brother lost a bunch of weight in the early 2000s on it's like Sunset Beach. What's the diet? It was like some weird Southern California thing, like.
They had that keto thing, and then the paleo diet, and I don't know.
This was like a...
Oh, was it like a Sun Eater, sunrise diet?
Something like, whatever it was, his brother really slimmed down. So he, like, and I said, I'm a nurse.
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen people who are serious about losing weight, lose weight, and I go, it's just a matter of moving a lot more, A, and B, not going to McDonald's in secret 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Pacing yourself with these small meals, protein-filled meals, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, a comfortable balance of sugars and proteins, but 6 small meals a day.
Yeah, that's what
And just keeping your energy going with nuts and berries and whatever else. And that's how you achieve that thing. But you don't have to... The moment you stop... using the program that you're using, he would get fat again.
Huh.
So that's why I'm like,
his metabolism adapted to it or something.
No, it's just like you start buying like hair pills, you know, biotin or whatever kind of pills to grow your hair and nails. But as soon as you stop taking them, you're like, hey, well, this doesn't feel good again. Or what did I notice it with? I'm rambling.
No, you're good. Like, no, you're
talking. It was something weird, but it was like something weird I was taking or doing. Oh, even like as simple as like shampoo and conditioner that claim to make your hair so, you know, it's like, oh, if I stop using it, then my hair should still feel that way, right? No, it doesn't. So it's the same thing with those diets and shit. It's like once you stop doing it, you can't maintain it. So you might as well be happy and fucking comfortable with what you're eating. Just moderation.
Yeah.
Moderation.
No, I hear that. Like, I used to, like, eat, like, bro, I still eat bread and stuff like that, but I feel like I was eating more, like, carbohydrates at one point in time. Like, I think, like, you know, like 5-6 years ago, even when I was still in West Virginia, I had, like, not, like, fat, but, like, a little bit fuller, you know what I mean?
You feel it?
Yeah, which was, like, weird, because, like, out here, like, the job I have now, even though I do a lot of manual labor, and that helps the muscle and all that, but it seems like just living in California with, like, the sun and being able to sweat a lot or whatever, it kind of like I wasn't like eating a lot, but again, the lifestyle here is a lot different than West Virginia and stuff, because in the wintertime, like, you go in, you're not really that, even if you're going to the gym and stuff, you're kind of not that you know what I mean? It's different. I guess the body might want to store.
So that's where you're from, West Virginia?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's very different than here, because there's definitely...
Oh, yeah.
There's, like, definitive seasons out there where it's serious. Out here, it's not...
Unless you go to the mountains or something.
Yeah. But you have this comfortable balance of doing whatever you want in California.
100%.
You can be in the sun all year, or you can be somewhere where you're going to feel all the elements.
Yeah, like Tahoe or Auburn, actually, which is only like, what, 30 minutes from
I'm going to miss that, working up there. But yeah, no, but even still, even up there, it's a different feeling, I think.
Gotcha. What? No.
That's that water thing.
Yeah, it's
I'm glad it wasn't an animal. I'm glad it wasn't an animal of some sort.
Oh, that's what you thought it was, like
I was terrified I was going to have to fight. Seriously, I got skunks that come in my backyard. Because we're all by the river, right?
Oh, yeah.
So my dog chases them all the time, and then he runs in the house after he's chased a skunk and gotten sprayed. Or
Shit.
not sprayed, but just dodged it enough to not get sprayed, but the whole entire house
Damn.
gets
Like,
sprayed.
I was talking, it's funny you say that, because I was
terrible.
talking to my ex-landlady, Laura, shout out to Laura, not too long ago, and she was, her dogs got sprayed. Her dogs got sprayed by a skunk. She said she could hear them spray, like, barking in the yard, and then just something told her, shut the door, and like, oh no, she could see the skunk or she could smell
There's a
something,
gut feeling,
and she just shut the door, and she had to leave the dog,
something.
and she's like, the dogs like barked all night, keeping them, but it's like, yeah, but we gonna, oh, but it's
I'm having a real life reaction to that. So I
you're
swear
having
to God.
PTSD. You're having PTSD.
So my house faces the same way as this place, right? It's like, and,
Oh,
and
okay.
so, like my yard is a lot deeper, and so when Dozer's born, the 90-pound, 97-pound, whatever he is, 80, I don't know, whatever the fuck he is. He's a big dog. You guys have seen him,
Yeah.
heard him. He chases possums, skunks, rats, whatever, and I'm close enough to the river that the skunks, they have a clear, like, when you watch animated movies, like, that's real life. I watch the fucking same squirrels go through the tree every day and run from that tree to that fence to this branch to up on top of the roof, throw some acorns down, go across this one, jump there, and now they're in the front where I can see them from my bed. Like, it's a whole thing. I know all the animals in the area. And these damn skunks. So one day I'm in my garage. I pull the car in the garage and I'm taking groceries out, and whatever I did to take out the first load of groceries, I was in the house for a while. So by that time, the overhead light in the garage had gone out.
Yeah.
The trunk's open. I go out there. Oh, it's making me hyperventilate. I think about it. And so I reach out, and there's two little skunks that come waddling from underneath, and this is how they walk.
Yeah, they had that weird little waddle, man.
And their tails. So I'm like, ah! But I couldn't make a noise.
Like, I was psychologically, you're like, ah.
Oh my. So the light's not on. The trunk is open. I see them waddling, and they're like leaving from underneath the car, which in essence they were leaving the garage, but I am coming from the house.
Yeah.
Around to the car, and then mind you, so instead of me turning back around and running right back in the house, I fucking panicked because it was dark and I couldn't see anything so I ran all the way around the car back there. And the whole time I'm like not aware if I've been sprayed yet, because sometimes you don't know what happens until it's like, and it literally chokes you, and it's bad.
I believe it. Like, I had that. Fuck, like.
Oh, it's traumatizing.
No, I fucking. Real quick, like. I remember, like. This is like 7 years ago, probably. Like, me and my ex, this is back in, this is actually in Virginia and all that. My ex, Andy and I, we were walking down a street in, like, Roanoke, and she's just likes animals and shit like that. Like, just like, she's like, you know, a farm girl and all that. And we see this skunk, like, walking. And she's like, what? She's giving out. I'm like, she's
Please
like,
don't.
she doesn't
Please
go
don't.
over this. You know, she's not like, she's not like one of them dumb white bitches that's gonna go over there and like start being. Like, you know, she's not like that. But like, you know, she's just got that like that girl like that girl
with it.
Yeah, and I'm like,
and
like I'm like, yeah, it'd be cool to have. I think it'd be cool if you had like a skunk that was descented. I think it'd be.
Is that possible?
Yeah, they can do that because they do it to ferrets. It's a gland that they take out, like. But it's I don't know. She was just like, "Oh, it's a baby." That's what she said. She was like, "Oh, it's a baby," and like I was like, "Oh, please," like, you know. But and like I'm just like, oh my god, just don't. I was just hoping something doesn't like scare it and have it start squirting, you know?
Because you never know.
Yeah.
And the bad part. So in the summertime, the upstairs of my house, which like I said is the same, it's facing the same way as this one, so it's like the sun in the summer is going to be all across if you have upstairs from here, right?
Yeah.
On those, and that's where there's 2 bedrooms. But my son, who's always there, you know, and he's got his fan because that's the hottest room, because that's where the sun's beating on it. And so when Dozer makes the skunk spray, he's got his fan on, it's blowing it, and all the doors in my house, I have to get them recut and done. have like an 1.5 gap on the bottom. So I'm in my bedroom, which is, across the house now, and I'm choking.
Oh, no.
From skunk spray. And then the dog will come running in my room because he sleeps under my bed.
Yeah, he's all proud.
He's like, and I can vaguely smell it on him, and then I'm like, 37 seconds later, like, Dozer, goddammit, check out that. And it's like, I'm hacking, I need water, there's no escaping it. It's terrible. It's the worst thing in the world to get sprayed. Or even, I can't even imagine if I actually got sprayed.
Does he get sprayed fairly?
He doesn't. He's very agile, so he himself doesn't get sprayed.
But the scent will get in the air and all that kind of stuff.
At least,
it's probably just gonna cling to you a little bit.
At least 12 times a summer.
Really, damn. Okay. But yeah, if they're gonna come in a dog, but yeah, so he probably feels all proud. Like,
I know. So I know in the summertime, it's like in the summertime between 8 o'clock at night and whenever you go to sleep and don't notice it. That's their hours. They come out of the sewers, and if you're at the river, it's like all of a sudden there's all these skunks everywhere as soon as the sun sets. So in my neighborhood, they start coming out of the sewers around. And there's only 2 that...
They fucking live in the sewers, too.
They do. It's weird, because they're coming from river areas, but there's like 2 that come through my neighborhood, and they go a certain path. They'll go a very specific path. I've seen them do it, because I drive home, from shows or whatever, and it's like, oh, here comes these stinky bastards at 8 o'clock. Doing weird shit.
Doing weird shit.
I hate them.
I'm surprised you don't have like raccoons. It's like skunks more.
We don't have any. Not really. I've never. And if there were, they'd definitely be in my trash cans. I'm sure.
Exactly. Then there's gotta. I wonder if
possums though. My dog's killed a couple of possums.
Huh. No, possums are actually good to have around. Like because they don't get rabies or anything like that. They look spooky as like a motherfucker,
they're gross as hell.
Yeah, but like they're actually like a really good like marsupial. Like they eat things, but they're just spooky looking. You know what I'm saying? Like they look like something the devil.
So what are they gonna eat? Like insects? And,
they eat insects and like ticks and a lot of things like that. They don't get rabies, so.
Dozer killed like at least 2 possums.
Well, he's a dog. He got to eat something good.
And he's a wolf. He chases. They run along the fence, and if he can get them, he will.
Huh?
It's his thing.
Oh yeah.
There's dead rats he puts them in the same place every time.
Shit, that's funny. That's every time. A cat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he's a wolf, so he does that.
Oh, gotcha.
He's got. I don't know. It's the wolf in him, unless there's a weird cat that's putting it there. But I kind of think.
No, that's definitely him probably doing it.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying that's like a cat-like personality. Yeah.
The kids have to move it for me. I can't even look at it. I'll be in the backyard, and I have to do certain shit because I have an old house. So every now and then the power goes out, and I have to walk around there and fucking flip the switch back.
Gotcha.
Come back in because too many heaters or air conditioners or blow dryers or whatever were on at the same time.
Gotcha.
And as soon as I see it, I'm like, oh, and I go back in and I go tell the kids, whoever like picks up dead things around the house gets like $10 a move.
$10. Man, that's good money. I'd be doing that.
I shouldn't even have to pay my kids. They're my kids.
And be like, hey man, look what I got, mom. I got this rat.
That's new parenthood.
Oh,
kids that play video games and that are really smart and that don't like physical labor, like, it's a challenge for them to pick up. Like any other kid growing up, I think would be fine. Or if you growing up under different circumstances. But I never made my kids do hard work, so my daughter's always the one who volunteers to get the dead things.
That's funny.
The rats. There's dead birds that fly into the vents and end up in the wall.
Right.
In the furnace closet, just dead.
Shit.
It's so gross.
That's crazy.
It's taking a dark Halloween turn. Y'all just put spooky music to it.
Well, hang on. It's funny that you say that, man. Like, this is like... I was going to ask you, because you said something about, like, where you were in, like, the old house or whatever, and we're getting close to Halloween, like, dead things and all that. Like, have you ever had any kind of, like, ghost experiences? Anything, like, any kind of, like, haunting, like, scary thing that happened like that, or...
Like, when we were kids, a lot more. Yeah, I don't know if it was imagination, but I do believe that energies cause things to happen that, you have to be aware of, right? So there is a scientific and there is like a spiritual, because all of it
kind of connects.
It's
you know?
so much of another whole entire different thing than this. But when we were kids, my mom used to. So my mom used to tell people, and I remember this from very young. My mom used to tell people that like she was like the devil's daughter or some weird shit like that, right?
Your mom. Your mom is legit interesting.
So interesting. It explains me completely, I swear.
I gotta get
Okay, so she used to like look people in the eyes, but like if you look me in the eyes, you'll see my horns come out. And I have literally watched like at least tens of people. In my mind as a kid, it was probably hundreds, but at least 5 people, 4, 3, I don't know. But I've watched at least several people like actually look at my mom's eyes and thinks that there's fucking fire in her eyes and horns coming out. And she used to like really play it up. Like this is from the time that I was like probably like 6, maybe 7.
Yeah.
And we were in Georgia and she like
dude, Georgia's way into that too.
And like, you know, there's all that shit's real life.
Yeah.
Voodoo and roots and like shit, like just spirituality, being more connected to spiritual things. Mm-hmm. And that's not how my family was. My grandma is very like slave Christian kind of Christian, and I hate to say it like that, but that's what it is. It's like a slave to Jesus in the church, and you know, it's a mindset with Southern black people. But my mom would say, her horns would come out. And you can see fire in her eyes. And she used to tell us, every time something weird happened around the house, and it was weird shit, she'd say, that's my grandma, Lucille, because her grandma just died recently. And I don't remember it. I remember being kind of in the vicinity of the funeral and things that were happening, but I didn't know the lady. My grandma was her daughter, you know, my mom's mom. So, there's all that weird shit, right? Mm-hmm. Fire literally starting in the fireplace by itself one night. We were watching fucking Elephant Man or something. Shit. I'm not kidding.
It's just like that movie of all things,
Elephant Man. My mom and her boyfriend, the fire fucking lights in the fireplace out of nowhere. My mom just goes, there's Grandma, Lucille. And the dude's freaking the fuck out. Can you imagine trying to get some pussy and this bitch is like, there's my dead grandma lighting a fire while we're watching Elephant Man with toddlers. I don't know.
With toddlers. Watching Elephant Man. We're watching Elephant Man. Grandma's coming out of hell. How y'all doing? Right?
Fucking lighting
fire. Fucking just bang the devil. I'm the baddest
really,
bitch
because the door opened first. It was some weird shit.
The door
I swear to God, I'm not kidding. Like the bedroom, and I don't think I'm remembering it wrong. Jesus. But it was crazy. And then when we moved to California, right? So my mom kind of calmed down as she went through different husbands. She became what they needed her to be. And she was dating this old ass dude. Rest in peace, Walter Lovelace. That was my stepdad.
Rest in peace.
And she made it very clear to him, like, I don't really like you that much, but I'll marry you and live in your house because my kids need a stable environment. Which was great, except he was an asshole because he was fucking 50 and my mom was 30 and I was 12 and I was trying to like do my thing as a teenage girl and like hump boys and get phone calls after fucking sunset. I don't know.
Phone calls after sunset.
And there was this weird like dude in the neighborhood, Benji, and he was, I think in hindsight, he was probably schizophrenic. But I remember demons being in that house and my mom like praying away demons and like feeling, and she's like, they were all over the walls and they were attacking me and like all this crazy weird spiritual shit that was happening. That so I do, yeah. Long story long.
No, that's great. No, I want to hear him. Like, I love all that. I'm trying to think of I'll give you one. Like, this is one back in West Virginia. So There's they had it on travel channels like Haunted Places or whatever at one point in time, but in West Virginia there's like a Lake Shawnee, and in reality it's really like a pond, so it ain't that big.
Right.
And they built like an amusement park there, so to speak, and like in the 1950s or whatever, and there's a Ferris wheel and all that. And whenever like all that was going on, like a lot of creepy shit happened there. Like a couple kids died, this and that. We'll come to find out they actually buried it. Like this is on an Indian burial ground here.
Fucking weird, yeah.
Which is something crazy. So the dude who owned the place, like if you wanted to go down, and again, when I was in college, like at Concord University, this was like the Lake Shawnee was like right near, like right there,
yeah.
like a 20-minute drive away. So I'm doing journalism at the time. Anytime I wanted to go down there just to do a story, the dude was like, "Oh, it was $100 to come down here and get this tour or whatever." I'm like, I ain't paying.
What?
But at Halloween,
why do I have to do that?
yeah, at Halloween though, he would charge like $10 because people would just come down. People would travel from all over the place. I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And I can't remember now if he got me in for free. Because again, I'm a student and a journalist, but he's such a fucking whatever that he was like, you know, Doug Dynasty with the beard and all this is like, oh, I gotta get my $10 from you. You know,
yeah, he was bubbling out there on that. You know how much money he made? It's like the it's like the Ethiopians in San Jose that charge you like freaking $5 to park on somebody.
Oh no, 100%.
Every house.
Oh, he was
down.
getting.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's funny. Like no, like, and so anyway, you know me. Like, using my Jewish skills and all that, like, I'm like, alright, well, how about I want to bring down, like, 3 of my... This is how I always play. I just bring my friends. Like, I got a cameraman, and then I got, like, a woman operating a microphone. And they're like, well, you can get it for free, but they still got to pay the $10. I can't be having it. And so, I'm like, alright. And so I get, you know, I act like I pay the dude $10. They go pay, and I'm like, "What's up, man?" You know, I slap his hand. I act like I pay him or whatever, and we get in.
Jesus,
and so, and what's funny?
you.
Oh my God! What's funny is too, is my friend Angie, and my buddy Ryan Schuff. And Ryan plays on the soccer team, and I love how like everyone who's athletic and like thinks they're bad. They're afraid of like anything. Like if they're like, yeah, there's a couple people that got killed here and there's a ghost. It's like, Chris, I can't.
I'm gonna.
Okay, can you come to the car with me? I want to go over there. I'm like, and again, like I'm like we're like say we're like right here. You see that fence? It's like we're like that. The car is like right there, and he's like, you know, I go over there and I'm just laughing because it's like really like he's like scared and we're going there and I'm taking pictures. We're doing this and the guy's giving a tour and everything, and nothing really happens, but there's a couple places he points out, and he's like, "Oh, down over yonder over there's this one boy, we had one night, and he kept on saying to me, I want to see a demon, I want to see a demon." And I told him, I said, "You know what, boy, you want to see a demon, go down there and say that over, see that tree down there, go down there and say that 3 times, and he said, Lord have mercy, I come, we guys give him a tour right around here." And I see that boy screaming, Lord, how he come running, screaming like a young boy. He ran out of here. He must have seen his demon. Anyway, and like he tells us that, and then like now Ryan's kind of like, oh my God.
Freaking out.
Yeah, he's not like really like freaking out too bad. He's trying to like, you know, be cool, but I can tell he's like whatever. But then the dude says, now okay, you see that trailer down there? If you like, you got a girl with you, like you got your microphones. You go down there, people tell me that if there's a girl that knocks on that door, if they can get recordings of a man, there's a ghost on. I can't remember what he told about it, but so anyway, we go on the door of this trailer, and at this point, the old redneck dude, he leaves and he goes wherever, but
Right.
because he lives like somewhere on the property, but it's kind of at a distance. He's like, I'll be by here later, lock up, and so.
And
like,
leaves everyone out there after all this trauma he's explained.
And so there's like us 3 out there, and again, like, so Angie goes to the door of this little trailer, and she knocks on it because the dude said, you know, if a girl like you get like a response, and she knocks on it, and listen, nothing happens, or whatever. We go away, and then I think she said, hey, that light wasn't on earlier, so we go back, knock on it, and nothing happens. So I just put on like this like Brooklyn accent. I'm like, hey, what's the deal here? What's the deal? I got some girl for you. You don't want to come to the door? What's the deal? What's the deal? You a punk, huh? I'm just doing that, and then like right at that we like leave, and so the way this place is like pretty much out in the middle of nowhere. There's like a gate set up here that's open. Like all the guy wanted us to do was shut it. Ryan Shuff's driving. I'm in the back seat. Angie's in the passenger seat. He turns it on. No problems. We drive forward. We get out. I think she gets out, shuts the gate. I don't know if gets in. Look right. Look left, because there's the way we're coming out of here. There's a road because West Virginia is kind of mountainous and winding.
Yeah.
There's a road that kind of goes up there. Whatever. Ryan drives out, just creeps forward a little bit. Nothing's coming. Gives a little bit of gas. Right in the middle of the road, it sounds like a shotgun goes off. Boom! And we're like, what the? And like Ryan's like, and the car ain't going. We're like, dude, what the fuck? And then in the distance we see headlights. And like whoever's driving,
they're coming towards you.
They're booking it, and it's like they're probably like a mile and a half out, and this car is still, and then miraculously it's just, and it just starts when we're going, and as we're driving, this truck, was like it's on our ass, and we're like now I'm freaking out too, and Angie, she's religious and all that. I'm like I'm religious too, but I'm not like she's got stronger connections to God. So I'm like, start praying, Angie. Start praying, please.
Somebody do something.
And then Ryan's like, Ryan starts praying too. And they're both praying, like, I'm praying too. And this truck is, like, on our ass. On West Virginia, like, windy as everything. We get to some point, finally this retard just goes around and passes us.
Oh my god.
And everything. But it's funny because as we're driving, Ryan's like, he starts getting mad. He's scared, but he's also he's like, this is what this dude does. He gets kids to come here and stay late, but then he gets somebody to chase him in a car and run him off the road. That's what he does. And he's... He said that. He said he's mad. And I'm like, whenever you're like freaking out and this is happening, you're like, dude, that could be possible, You're like, so I'm like, Andrew's like still praying. I'm like, we got spiritual something going, whatever.
Exactly what happened. That is hilarious.
And then what's funny is we finally get into town ain't nothing but a gas station and the fire department's over here and then it's like houses. You know what I'm saying? Like that's town. When we get to Athens, we get in and then what we see at the fire department? That that truck that was telling us like the redneck of like almost like his like little hat on, like all crippled up here, like some fucked up, like his like hunting camo. I know he had his like Carhartt jacket on and the camel pants and the skull can. You could just see him here like, it just. But no, that's the craziest like. But no, that was
shit
like
happens.
I believe that. No, the other thing was crazy too, because at some point we don't check our phones in there, but whenever we get out, we all our phones were dead too. Not like they turned on, but they had all we all had them on. So that was like so how ghosts are supposed to suck energy. So I believe that was a real encounter. Like I believe in that. I've had I've had a couple crazy things that have happened like that I'm like something's out there.
Ghosts suck energy.
They do.
That's what it is, and that's what. Like, in essence, everything that we are experiencing is electrons and neutrons and everything else, firing and interacting with itself and other things. And the human brain is something wild, so it's not a wild concept to think that you could be in tune with something that is very different than what you consider reality.
Yeah, it's outside of the realm of like the perception of what we've been brought up with, I guess, so to speak.
But even if you think about like hallucinations are real, right? We've all had, but you dream and you feel like a dream is like real. Despite you living in the now and knowing that this table is physical and, I am feeling like, okay, it's a nice night outside, the clouds are, whatever. You kind of feel like you're in reality. But in terms of things, when you're in a dream, you really feel like you're in it.
Yeah.
It's only that one very brief moment where you snap out of REM that you realize, oh, I was dreaming, and that is not reality anymore. You realize that didn't really happen. Now I'm back in actual physical space, but who's to say? If it's so, you know what I mean?
And it's crazy too.
Which is the same as spirituality and superpowers and mutations and what, like, it could all be possible. We really don't know. People who are like completely what we would consider out of it are having an experience that is just as real to them as this is to us right now. So what really is the real world?
Yeah.
It's deep. You're gonna have to think on that one.
No,
It's like
think on that
super
line.
deep.
Well, it was very funny what you said about a dream, because even though it's like, it all happens in the mind, so it's all memory in a sense, but there's some dreams that's like you could think back of, and it's like, I have a memory of that dream. And that's what, here's a funny thing. Now here's something that's gonna throw you for a little, I guess. So you have the memory of the dream. The dream wasn't real, but the memory of the dream is.
Yeah.
So you experience that memory again. You're experiencing the reality of something that was like something entirely made up. Like I feel like this one dream I had recently. I had a dream. I had to have been.
I think it's
early
the
middle
feeling
school.
that's attached to the dream that you are still remembering.
Exactly.
And you associate that with the thing that you had that dream about. Like people, it's weird how you can weirdly go, I am really feeling real live anger towards you because of the shit that I dreamed up last night. Like, because you know that it's your psyche putting shit together. It's like,
yeah. I mean, no.
Is that what that really meant? Is that why I had that dream? And you, like, as a person who's been very connected to someone, it's like, it's real. When you go, okay, damn, that's what's really happening. But dreams, ugh.
No, I dig on dreams a lot. Like I was saying, like it's like the ones that are really crazy is again.
They're hard to figure out.
Well, like I had a dream recently that like I was back in like college and I was like, oh shit, like I might get an F in math or whatever. You know what I mean? And I was like, what happens if I get this and I don't like graduate? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but it's like that's just done and like you got but why is that fear still? It's like
is that
something.
the worst thing?
Yeah, it's
What's
like
your worst dream ever?
Probably something like worst dream ever.
Think about it.
That was just recent. I know I've had some crazy ones.
Like the worst feeling you've ever woke up from. Like I'm so glad that's not real life right now. What's the worst one?
Oh, dude, there was definitely one where I was like driving and I either like hit someone or something bad happened, like something where I was going to jail and I wasn't coming. I wasn't getting out for like good. You know what I mean? Like I either like kill someone, but like something
good.
great, like something crazy happened because I remember waking up and I was like, oh Jesus Christ, what is that? Yeah, I'm like. It's like watching a movie, like living a movie in your head is like, you know what I'm saying? It's like that was Uncut Gems, like all up there. You know what I mean?
Oh, shit.
But there was something like crazy like happened where I was like, I remember driving. I think I was probably, like, honestly, I was probably living that stupid bit I do on stage. You know, where I do the thing and I crash the car.
You never know. It all connects to itself. I don't know. For me, it was, I guess it depends on the times, but no matter what's happening around me, how it manifests, if I hear different news or whatever, it's always a matter of me trying to connect with the people that I love, which is my kids. It's always my kids that I'm trying to get to in like an end of the world kind of situation. And it started probably back in like 2002, I guess, because that's when my second son was born, and that was like right after 9/11. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like it was. I thought the world was ending because at the time I was like heavily studying with Jehovah's Witnesses, and the whole thing is, you know, the end of this system. And it's like it could come at any moment, like a thief in the night, and it's like, oh shit. So I was like having these nightmares that I had babies. Like at the time they were all small, and there were 6 of them really at some point. At that time it was only 4, but I had to be responsible for gathering my flock and keeping them safe. And there were like all these weird obstacles, like big aliens, and like I'm just constantly like running and like dodging like bullets, and like I had a serious, when I would drive down I-5 and you like by Discovery River, there was, maybe they come from McClellan, but there's like big airplanes that, you know, make big noise like jets.
Yeah.
And I'm driving that way, and I used to work night shift, and I would like get scared and like have panic attacks. Because when 9/11 happened, I just got off work on a night shift, and it was like 7 in the morning or something, California time.
Yeah.
Maybe 6, I don't know. It had to be like around 7 or after. And I was living with my uncle at the time, and I was pregnant with my second son, Roman. He's 19 now. He'll be 20 in March. And my oldest son, Isaiah, was living there. And I slept in his daughter's room on the bed. Like, I work night shifts, so they'd be at school, and I'd sleep, and then I'd get up and go and do what I had to do. And like but I remember coming home from work and just being extremely tired and laying down. My cousin's getting ready for school, and my Uncle Tyrone's going, and he's really loud. He's like, they done crashed the airplane into the Twin Towers. Hey! And he calls me A. Him and my brother, only people, and my Uncle Tyrone is like the person who taught me how to be a 49ers fan, but he calls me A. Hey, wake up, look at this shit. These motherfuckers crashed the plane into the, and I'm like deliriously like waking up to the, like the TV's on, and I have to like kind of get up and like, the fuck. But my other uncle, my Uncle Joe, he's the oldest son. He works, you know, he was working at the Pentagon at the time.
Yeah.
So then the Pentagon shit happened like right after that, and it's like, holy shit, we gotta call Virginia, because where's Uncle Joe?
Oh yeah.
Is he at work? Like, it was weird. It was a weird space to be in. So.
Because like the Pentagon got hit that day too.
Yeah.
So what did he say about that?
Nothing. My uncle that works for, that's a colonel in the Air Force. Absolutely nothing. He said nothing to us at all.
Dude, he knew something. That's some crazy shit, you know what I'm saying? I think he might have had an insight about, I don't know.
He works for the Department of, I don't even know if this is okay to say, but he works for the Department of Transportation, and he's like I said, he's a colonel in the Air Force, and he's Colonel whomever he is, and he does this thing, and it was like, I felt proud to know that he was okay after that, and he, you know, probably was an integral part of a lot of the shit that was happening at that time, but I had nightmares about that shit forever.
Damn.
So it was after 9/11 that all the end of the world shit started playing through my head, and I'd be like running, trying to drive up into the mountains and all kind of shit to get my kids safe. It was just weird.
Like, I was gonna say, like, were you doing any kind of, like, were you training with any kind of firearms or anything at the time? Or, like, preparing for, like, evacuation, anything like that?
In the dreams?
I mean, like, I didn't know, like, if that was affecting your, like, life outside the dream. You know what I mean? If you were doing anything, like, wanting to prepare.
No, because at that time it was just about living day to day and making sure I showed up to work to be able to take care of my kids. Like, at that time I was very poor. Like I said, I was living at my uncle's house in his 12-year-old daughter's room, so I didn't have much. I was working at Jack in the Box. It was terrible. It was a terrible life, but I learned a lot of shit during that time. Like, I grew into who I am. I grew up in the gutter. And like I said, my mom used to try and protect us from it, but she couldn't. It was there, it was happening, and I learned a lot of shit the hard way. I don't know why it was so traumatizing, but I experienced a lot of shit back then that pretty much shaped why I have very high tolerance for things now.
Gotcha.
So in terms of living in today's society, it's like, shit could be a lot worse. Really. Your worst dream is hurting someone while you're driving, and me, I have 3 kids that I have to take care of in this crazy world that's being destroyed by aliens,
you have to look out for them,
and I gotta be the one to save them. So that's 2 very different experiences, and so it's kind of weird living in a space where I have to be around kids, doing comedy, and I'm in terms of who's around. When you go to an open mic, young kids that haven't had life happen.
Yeah.
That have these experiences and expect you to be a part of that experience. But it's like, go through a little bit more. And then you can kind of see where I'm coming from when I say that's not a big deal. Man up.
I gotcha.
For God's sake, grow some balls, which you can't even say to people anymore, but it's like we've been through a lot of shit that's a lot heavier than somebody didn't make me feel good today.
Yeah. I follow. Like, touching on what was it that led you into getting into stand-up?
I was terribly depressed because I was freshly left for another woman, and I couldn't bring my kids home with me. So I was always trying to be somewhere where I didn't have to think about life being depressing. And that was at the comedy club. So I would go and go and go. And then Ellis Rodriguez is the reason why I would look, Laughs Unlimited was the only club that I knew comedy was happening at besides Tommy T's and Punchline. And I'd show up, I'd get dressed, I put on my boots, my leather pants, my cut-up t-shirts, and I go and show, and I sit in the front row.
Right
and
on.
After a while, Jenny, they didn't even try and ticket me at the booth, no ticket at the booth. They just be like, you're here, go. And I wasn't a comic at that point.
Oh, cool.
And so I would just go sit in the front row and I laughed my ass off because it was funny to me. I liked it. It was somewhere I could get lost and not think about all the sad things, that were happening. And Ellis loves to do this on the sidewalk. Loves it. He loves to chat. I forgot this audio too. I was doing the chatter hands. It's like,
oh yeah.
Like
if you got a puppet,
repeatedly.
A puppet or
That's
whatever.
what Ellis Rodriguez does on the sidewalk of Laughs Unlimited. Is he chatters, about comedy, and he's telling you stuff that you should hear if you're a comic. And so I just be out there smoking my cigarettes, and I like being there after the show was over. And one day we were just talking super late, and he's like, well, do you want to do comedy? And I'm like, not really. It's not a thing I've thought about ever. I love it. My mom used to play Eddie Murphy Raw and Delirious on the record player. I love listening to that shit. I remember the record player playing it while she was, hanging out on a Saturday evening or whatever. And so he goes, oh, come up with a quick 3 and I'll get you on a spot at a comedy show. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And then I did, and then I got nervous, and I went to Comedy Spot for the first time. And then I got denied. I've been waiting on the sidewalk for an hour.
Oh, fuck.
To sign up for the open mic, which at that time I didn't know was so open. I thought it was an exclusive, this world famous comedian's gonna get me a spot on a comedy show is how I felt about it.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was like a every Tuesday night kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had no clue. I thought I was special.
This is a real comedy show here.
Oh my gosh.
It
was Comedy Spot on a freaking Tuesday or Wednesday or Sunday or something. I don't know. It was June 15th, 2000. I want to say 2015.
Gotcha.
And then I didn't do it for a while. But anyways, that's how I got into comedy. And then I just kept doing it. And that's what he said to me in the beginning. He's like, either you're going to get on stage and you're going to do this time and you're going to be like, oh, that was all right, that was great, fine, whatever. Or you're going to get up there and you're never going to want to stop doing it ever again. And then that's when you know you're a comic. That's his words. That's when you know you're a comic. So at that point, like, I was like, and then I didn't go up for like 6 months after that because I just kept talking myself out of it. And it was a shitty set. They were very kind, but it was, like I said, I got denied, and he told him to put me up somehow, so I went up like last on the list. And then when I went back the first couple of times, it was just, the first year was very sloppy, but I have a lot of stage presence, so it made it easier for me to keep going without knowing I was horrible at the time. Like, I looked great on stage, but I was really horrible. I didn't have any structure. I was over drinking before sets.
I've done that a couple times.
I'm sorry about this podcast. I overdrank before this podcast, but
no, you're doing
I
great.
probably just needed to. But yeah, no, it was a whole. But I got better, and but it's like I had to live and experience and whatever, and I just kept doing it, and I do love it. I fucking love it. I still have to work a full-time job, but if I weren't able to do this, I probably would be miserable completely.
No, I follow.
Completely. I mean, besides the kids and the dog and other things that are supposed to make me happy.
Right. Well,
you have your children and your...
But you gotta have something else going on in your life, to make it all worthwhile and all. But no.
I did. I lived a whole life of raising kids and being a wife, and by the time I started doing that was the time that by the time I moved back to Sacramento and my kids were pretty much self-sufficient. Like, if you can make an egg sandwich and some noodles or, a bowl of cereal, you're self-sufficient. Now to lock the door and call 911. Can you operate this fire extinguisher? Pass. Pull the pin, aim, squeeze, and sweep. That's what happens if there's a fire.
Well, your kids have
Mama's
to do that?
got shit to do.
Oh, your kids have had to do that before? Oh.
We run drills all the time.
Oh.
Grab the fire extinguisher.
That is good, though. We never did that. I remember seeing a fire extinguisher. Like, when I was a kid in the cupboard, it was... You wouldn't know what to do with that, huh? I mean, there's a label thing. I would figure it out. Like, you know what I mean? But I never messed with one or anything like that.
So, alright, this is the last thing I'm going to tell you about, and then I have to go.
Alright.
Hey, Chris.
Hang on, wait, bro. We're still doing this.
Only 7 more minutes. So, I always I'm a nurse by trade, and I try and teach my kids all the things that I learned at work, because I realize while I'm observing things that like 99% of people don't know what to do in an emergency, so I try and teach my kids. And life experience. So one day, my daughter asked a dipshit, oh, can I use this to clean the bathroom? And they go, yeah, sure. And I come, and just so happened come in at the right time, and it was fucking CLR. No gloves, no goggles, you can use that to clean the bathroom. Well, I didn't know. I just told her, I was in the shower, whatever. No, so I told my kids, before you use any chemical, read the label. So you know what to do in the event, but you know how to protect yourself. Okay. What are you going to do if a fire breaks out? You're in your room, we're upstairs. What do you do? The stairs are on fire.
Right.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Fucking jump out the window, goddammit. It's only a 2-story house. You guys are young and virile. Your bones will recover, I promise. A, B, whatever. Science and sheets. I don't know. It's not that far. Like, there's a sun sail on the house. You can, like, bounce off of that, whatever. Get out of the house. And then I teach them how to use the fire extinguisher. I teach them race and pass, And so my ex-boyfriend and I had this RV that I had to go pick up from SFO while he was in the nursing home that I worked in. Because he hurt his back and had surgery. Shit. And I had to go pick up the RV. So I thought, okay, I'll go pick up my kids from their dads. I'll drive my car to SFO. Leave my car at the airport so I can come get it later. drive the RV from the airport to the house in Sacramento.
Right.
And it caught fire. This is a very long story short. It caught fire while me and my 3 kids were in it on 680 in the middle of on June 1st or May 30th of 2000 whatever, and it up 680 with fucking dry brush and everything. The RV caught fire inside the console inside the RV. So I had to, the kids, like, because we'd run drills before, they were out of the back. Like, my son's on the phone with, trying to, you know, pinpoint where we are because we're on the highway. It's like, do you know the mile marker? Where are you? I know generally, but I don't know exactly. I'm looking for the fire extinguisher that's God knows in which cabinet or drawer or whatever. There's smoke everywhere. Like, it's summer. I have no shoes and socks on because it was already hot. Like, it was just big, the whole entire deal. And if my kids didn't respond the way they did, and if I didn't do what I knew what to do to put the fire out, it would have went up in flames, but it didn't. And it lived another couple of years or so before we had to give it up, so.
Good on your kids' part, man. That's smart.
But my kids were super amazing with, and when I grabbed the fire extinguisher, we've always been taught, pull the pin out, pull the pin out, safety pin, aim at the base of the fire, you know, like 5-6 feet away from it, squeeze the, you know, thing, and sweep back and forth. Right. There was no pin to pull out. It was like a fucking I Love Lucy fire extinguisher.
It was just one, like, you
from
just lift it and it's good to go.
And so it just had like this top button, almost like a Glade air freshener. In the RV, because we got it, we never used it.
You didn't pay attention.
You know, you're not even. But I knew it was in there. It's like a Glade fucking Febreze air freshener,
oh my God,
fire extinguisher, and the console, inside the console is what was on fire. So I'd already shoved a towel and poured water down there. Like I said, I skipped a whole long story, but I had water and a towel available. And so I'm trying to rip off the console because the little clips that you unlatched to remove it to get to the engine, which was what was on fucking fire.
Jesus Christ.
I just had to rip it off like He-Man. Hulk, spray it. Couldn't see where I was spraying. I'm just like, rip the console off and get like a half, like 6 inches of it open, and I'm just fucking spraying the fire extinguisher like Glade in there, and someone's shit really bad, and I'm trying to clear it up. And finally someone pulled over and helped me. Some motorcycle dude, but by that time I had it extinguished. But it was very crazy. So yeah, we've got a new fire extinguisher now in the new RV and at home. The kids know how to use it. They know what to do in an emergency.
That's good though. That's like excellent parenting.
You gotta train for life.
No, I believe that.
So you really should know what to do if some shit goes down, because it does. It happens in a weird way.
It does.
Alright, it's officially 8 o'clock.
I know you gotta be getting ready to go, but real quick, I think we'll kind of end on this, but we'll lead to the real ending, which is you know that. But no, because where you were there the first night that I got into comedy at on the Y. Yeah, and it was 2016. Were you living in San Francisco at the time? Mm-hmm. For some reason, I have the memory that you were living in San Francisco.
You told me that before, and I don't know why. I've always been from around Sacramento.
Okay, I don't know, but like, I was, there. I just remember I was scribbling my like book or whatever. And you're looking at me like, "Are you a comic?" And I'm like, "I am." Going up to a mic, I'm like, I ain't really a comic.
I get drunk and I talk to people is the problem.
You weren't really drunk. You were pretty sober. No, you were sober.
Never.
No,
hardly ever.
Well, you might have like a buzz. Like you're probably like, I wouldn't consider myself like drunk now, but I've had enough like to drink that it's like.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's just a space that I'm in that if I walk up to somebody who did not approach me at all and I ask you a question
you didn't walk up to me though.
I might just, yeah.
It was more like I was at the bar and you were right there, so to speak. But I think from my memory, you're like on the left. I mean, I'm just like kind of not like facing to you, but I'm just doing this. And I don't know, I think you were just kind of watching what I was doing. We just made eye contact, and that's what led to the conversation. Like, you weren't really, that's what I'm saying, you're probably, like, drinking at the time, but, like, yeah, you weren't drunk. It wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I think I've seen you pretty buzzed. You know what I mean? So it's like, but this isn't high, but this is later on, you know, after I really got to know you. Like, this is, like, kind of what Ella said. Like, this is that like, night was probably the moment, but you were like, do you want me to take any kind of, like, pictures of you or anything? I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was just, like, kind of crazy. So it was just kind of one of those, again, like, God moment, universe moment, something's happening that's, like, I don't know, whatever. Yeah. But, like, it was just weird that you're like, oh, you want me to come up, like take a couple, like, photos? I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool. You know what I'm saying? You did, and then you sent them to me. But I went up there and I told, I'll tell my embarrassing story now since you kind of told me about it, because I don't have anything about shitting, but I got about fucking. Those are usually, like, mine. But anyway, like, Scott, not to throw you the Romans here, because Scott was on the one podcast, but he was who I was rooming with when I first moved out here, right? Mm-hmm. And he had not a wife, but, like, a girl, like, she, like, it was, like, her house, really, like, and everything, but, like, they're pretty much together and all that. So, like, she had this rule, was like, you can't have any girls over. Well, like, you can have girls over, but you can't be alone in the room together, or whatever the fuck. So I was like,
your shoelaces must remain tied.
Yeah. Right? It was a situation like that.
I don't know why I said that.
No, because it's like, no, like, you're getting it right. Like, it was like, but what's funny is because, like, every now and then I could, like, hear, like, her making, like, them, like, fucking every now and then, like, not, like, hardcore, but I could hear, like, moans and shit. I'm like, God damn it. Not like I was, like, getting, like, stressed out, but it was like, whatever. So, anyway, I meet this, chick on Tinder, and, again, this is, like, when I'm, like, new to California, right? This is 2016. Mm-hmm. And this chick, she's like, well, I'll take the train up from Stockton. I'm like, alright. Like, now in hindsight, she was putting in commitment. And I didn't even, like, know this broad. And she was kind of thicker than what I'd go for. But I'm not really shallow, so I guess I was making amends or whatever. Anyway, she came over, like, one time, and it, like, let nothing happen. She comes over the second time, I got some beer, and I got some, like, rum, and all this shit. And it's raining, you know what I mean? And we go out back, and there's a covering, kind of like what we have here, but it's really just an umbrella, is all it is. And we're still kind of getting wet, so we're just drinking, like, some rum and the beer. And Scott's home and all that, but he's just doing his own bullshit or whatever. We're out drinking all this shit, and she's talking to me, and she's like, you know, I got my nipples pierced. And I'm like, okay. And she was like, do you want to see?
Oh, but.
And I was like, yeah. And I think I kind of explained that. I was like, we can't really go in, or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what. But she was like, so we go around the corner of the thing. So, like, the way this house was, like, you go here, and you can go around the corner of this, like, back, and there's, like, a fence, and there's just enough area where, like, looking out the back, like, no one's going to see anything. So she shows me, and then she let me tell you, so I'm like, God, I'm like, oh, she's like, yeah. And she's going outside, like, and so we start getting down, and then she, you know, drops her pants, we start, like, banging and everything, but I don't have a condom, so I said to her, I was like, you care, like, I don't have it, you care if I just put it in your ass, you know, if I'm gonna, and she just, like, did, like, not really a sigh, but, like, a half one, like, she's like, okay. And she just done it, so we start kind of, like, going at it, and then at some point, I just get to them, like, I guess you're being watched or whatever, I just happen to glance over, there's Scott with a cigarette, and he's like, and he turns around and just like he does just like half hop, and I'm like, oh shit. And like so I go in and nothing really goes bad, but I think I told the girl, I'm like, oh, okay, you probably gotta go.
Yeah,
and
toodles, thanks.
Yeah, and she does that, and then Scott's like, Chris, please tell me you didn't fuck that snow pig. Like
that is hilarious.
It's like, and I was like, oh, like, really? It's like, and then sorta. Like what happened was like I ended up like, for whatever reason, I ended up like losing the key to the front door, and I was going out with a friend of mine at work, And we were just going to the bar, and then, like, we just got way too buzzed when I came back. I was like, oh, I don't got a key. I was like, Scott, you come help. And that just led to a whole bunch of problems. So what happened was, the point of the story is, I got kicked out for fucking in the backyard, pretty much. And I had to go, and that's where, we won't go into this story, but you've heard this one, because that's what led to your comedy bit that night at On the Y. But that's what led me into, like, I went from fucking in the backyard to being a failed gigolo. Like, that week, I met this other chick on Tinder who was an ex-Suicide Girl model, and I thought I was going to be in heaven. That was a psychological hell that I don't know, but it lasted 3 days, but I was basically getting, like, you know, paid to, like, bang her, take care of the kid, and just stay there and go to work. And then she got
perfect arrangement.
And then exactly, and then like, and then
so
again,
emotionally exhausted.
And I got kicked out of her house, sort of, but I was glad to go. I didn't want to be there. She got mad. She's like, I wouldn't talk to. Oh, it was a whole bunch of other kind of shit, but that I tell on stage. But anyway, getting like, how does that happen though? That's you can't write that.
Life is
like,
so
fucking this one like bitch, and then somehow miraculously meeting this one. She's like, oh, you can come right in, you can do this and that.
Life is so weird in weird ways, and then you don't always know how to take it and process it and make I don't know, decisions that make sense. Some of the decisions I think that I make sense, but then they don't, and sometimes they do, but I guess, I don't know, we all have our own experiences, what we choose to live through.
No, 100%.
I'm always like weighing things. I'm always constantly analyzing and weighing, like, what would happen. Like, I swear I lived my whole life, like, what if? Oh, I shouldn't be naming things, I forgot. But I'm like, what if? Like, that's my whole thing. Like, what if, you know, any of these circumstances were different? But they're not. They are what they are. So, roll with the fucking punches and live your life and try to be remotely good. Or not remotely, like, you know. Try to be mostly good.
It's good, yeah.
As good as you can be to
That's
other
what I was
people.
going to say. You're probably as good as you can be. There's some times where you can't be so good.
Yeah, that's why I was like, remotely. I'm sorry, I'm getting a...
No, that's good.
My
We'll
wife
go
up
ahead.
Extremely early.
No, it's all right. We'll go ahead and wrap and get ready to wrap it up. I was going to say, all those mishaps, that's how you end up getting into comedy pretty much. Because, like, the moral of that story was, I got kicked out of one house going into... From like fucking one bitch to fucking like banging another one to getting kicked out of her house, and pretty much like living out of my car for a minute. But I was like, I gotta tell this fucking bullshit. Like that's what led me to going to On the Y that night, to being like, I gotta talk
Opens you
about
up to a whole new reality of fucking
like
weird people that talk about weird things, because that's what makes us feel better.
Yeah.
I'm trying to convince my son to do this with me, because he's lived a different experience, and he's very funny, but he's not as outspoken and willing. I mean, like, they're all my kids are great public speakers because they grew up as Jehovah's Witnesses, so they all have that, you know, ability to stand in front of a bunch of people.
Oh, yeah.
And speak, which, you know, if you've gone to church or some kind of religious establishment as a kid, you've had to recited a song or a prayer in front of a bunch of people. Like, you've done it, but they've done it a lot. So anyway, but my 19-year-old son, Roman, is super, and he's really good with, like, all things current. Hey, that's one thing that he's really good at, is being a cool enough kid to know what's happening in the world that I don't as a 42-year-old parent. So there's a lot of shit that I don't know about. So when the kids are talking their language, I'm standing in the hallway like, what the fuck are you guys saying? But I'm so intrigued with it, right? Like,
Yeah, you're like, I'm trying to figure
I have no
this
idea
out.
what's going on.
This is not some
Like, I had to
dialogue.
look up furries and evil, like, and soft boys or whatever you call them. I don't know. Is it soft boys? It's some weird shit like that.
I haven't heard that one. So is it just like a kid that's probably weak, a soft boy?
No, it's some other like completely weird, not whatever this generation that is that's in their teenage years right now, like 13 to freaking 17 or 16, I don't know, like that generation of people. They have their own language. It's weird.
I guess we all sort of do, don't we? Like, but this has got to be that new generation's like language coming in, like from like when the people were in like the 20s and then the 60s started coming in, like, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
people from the 40s couldn't handle the 60s.
We've watched how, the ability for you to express yourself as a person has happened from the 20s up until the nows. So up until now, like it was, and not to make it all, political or serious or anything otherwise, but, in entertainment in the 1920s, you had like silent films, and it's Charlie Chaplin, it's,
Right.
It's just, this is what it is. And then you get cartoons, and people are represented in different ways, and really there were only very few representations. And then you get to a point where it's like, okay, now other people are being represented, but they're being represented in such a way where they are not included as a native person or as a black person, the way that they actually live in America, but how it's portrayed in this America that's watching this, that's matters. So as entertainment and things have evolved, we're more involved as people to be who we are, ourselves. Yeah. Which is a really weird space to be in, is that people actually get to be who they are in a sense of, entertaining people. And it hasn't always been that way. I'm going to be absolutely honest and say I lost where I came in with that, but it mattered. The evolution of
entertainment and language.
Of how you portray things and how, you have to fit within certain boundaries. So, like I said, now we're finally in a space where people get to be who they are. You can, be represented by how you feel and what you want to portray, whereas you couldn't do that freaking it's been 100 years now.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough. You couldn't play certain music, you couldn't say certain words, you couldn't wear certain things.
Yeah, that's
without being considered, a floozy or a
yeah, they had like laws about some stuff. People get like ticketed and like crazy, you know what I mean?
When I was a kid in Georgia, my granny is a very, like I said, slave Christian kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't wear like red fingernail polish. Too many rings, like, oh, you're a Jezebel.
Oh, shit.
You're Jezebel.
Yeah.
And the old ladies in the church would talk about, the young women if they didn't wear a slip or, under their dress, or if they didn't have stockings on, like, you're Jezebel. You got your boobs showing, like, cleavage. So it's weird for me being who I am, and my granny is like that. She's still alive.
Oh, that's awesome.
She hates talking to me these days. She's like, oh, Granny love you. Like, before I remember my Granny, she couldn't wait to hear from us, and now she's like, I time it on my phone. It's like a minute and 2 seconds at the most. Generally 47 seconds. It's like, well, how you doing? How the kids? All right, it's good to hear from you. Like, Granny, I'm not really out here ass fucking, and I know I'm naked on Facebook, Granny. I'm sorry. I know how this looks, but I'm still the same wonderful kid that you raised and taught how to make, pound cakes and freaking glaze and...
I kind of feel that way with my Nana sometimes too, you know what I mean?
Let me live, bro. I know y'all grew up close to the plantation. You couldn't do all this shit I'm doing, but let's be real. You had a baby out of wedlock. You were a side bitch, Granny, in 1960. 1958, you was fucking on somebody's husband. And that's where my daddy came from, and you out here mad at me. Granny. This is all... That's why she hates me. Well,
Where?
That's what she says when I go.
No, your granny sounds awesome.
She taught me how to cook really good. She's really sweet. She's great. I love her. I still love my granny. But yeah, she hates me. She hates what she sees. But like I said, people just don't want to be honest with themselves. Like, yo, y'all was doing some fucked up shit too. You just never actually. Nobody knew it because there was no social media involved. We're not recording every moment of our lives where someone could pluck, 18 seconds of your phone memory out of your phone.
Gotcha. That's good, but with that, we'll go ahead and end Nosotros Trabajamos Duro.
Sorry, am I supposed to do like an ending thing?
No, not really.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Salt and pepper and heavy D up in the limousine. Hanging pictures.
Hey everybody, hope y'all enjoyed that podcast today with Asian May. I really enjoyed it. Those are some great stories like that. Hearing all that with her mom and everything, I was like, oh man, that's tremendous. I'm still cracking up, like laughing about, like thinking about Tyrone talking about, like, oh damn, they just playing to it. No. That's good shit. Oh man. But that's what this podcast is about. Again, we work hard. She was a nurse. I kind of regret. I should have asked a question about COVID and all that, but it was just, I was focused on other stuff like the comedy and all that, so we didn't get on that. But next time, whenever she's on, but yeah, again, I really want her to be the first comedian I had on because she was there for the first time I did stand-up comedy, and I've always just, I don't know, she's my girl, Alicia. I love her. She's like, check her out, all those shows that she said, and I got these, posters and all that posted, so, be sure to check her out. She's one of my favorites, always cracks me up, so just one of the many greats here in Sacramento, and all that. So we'll be getting to know some others soon, as well as, like, these business things, and other people with great interests that work hard and all that. As you can see, I got my Bluesman here. Be sure to check that out. It's a good horror thriller novella. Perfect for this time of Halloween. I know it's almost up, but hey man, if your heart's like mine, it's Halloween year round. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I regret, since I was talking about books, I haven't read Salem's Lot this year. I used to be good, and I'd read Salem's Lot like every Halloween pretty much. I'd start like end of September through some part of October, and then once I was done with that, I'd read I'd read something else. Some other horror novella. Or not horror novella, some other horror novel, something spooky. Because, I'm like, I love all that stuff. Horror movies, everything. I've been kind of slacking this year, but I've just been focused trying to get other things done. Truck's still in the shop and all that. Can you believe that? And it's always a situation with this. Every time, it's like, alright Chris, truck should be ready this week. Well, by Friday. Okay, Friday comes in, you'll be ready by Wednesday. Wednesday comes, it's Friday again. So, I don't know. I'm going to, after this, I'm going to call him here in a little bit, and whatever. So once that's done, I'll get back on stage more, and do some other things. I don't know, I'm just trying to stay busy, people. Like, working hard like the podcast says. Nosotros Trabajamos Duro. We work hard, motherfucker. And I hope you do too. That's just how you move forward in life. Yeah. And if we're talking about also moving forward in life, as you can see, I got the bug of salt. I think last time I talked to you was Halloween. I was like, the kids say, like, even ages. She was talking about how her kids like to fuck around with it and bust stuff up. It's raining here now in California. Cockroaches are moving in. All you need is a little bit of table salt. Now you can overfill this thing that doesn't want to shoot that well. So all you need is about like that much. See this? Pop that baby close and say a fucking fly just lands. Just say, not today, Jack. And you bust it. Cause you see this? I think I just saw a fly right there. It's tempting death. See this fly swatter I got right here? It has a little W in the middle. You know what that means? What a waste, bitch. And that bug of salt, they say just retire that motherfucker. There it goes. While I do that, we got like 20 flies coming, and you just shoot them up like that, Jack. They done. They done. You got roaches. Like I was saying, you got roaches because it's water season here in California, and it's raining all that. And then the bugs come in, you just bust them down. Just bust them down. And some of you may remember. Remember when I had that War of the Wasp? Jesus. It was some hard times. See, it was just a day in the summer. And some flies are getting their attitude right, and they just sort of, landing, because flies are what they are. And I was all alone and busting them up. Then I saw a couple spiders. Spiders and flies don't get along, but it's still my enemy. It was kind of cahooting. But not really. Like the Nazis and the Russians. They knew that it was trying to be had, but I was the devil that day and I took him out. It just got worse because all of a sudden, these wasps, they just started coming. And I just started blasting. And they just wouldn't go down. And more kept coming. And I was blasting, but they were confused to see these wasps. But I had my bucket salt, I just got to go blasting at them. But I didn't have the shredder. Maybe that'll come soon. And I could Clint Eastwood. But I didn't have that opportunity. So again, I was just blasting. Then something like the spirit of John Lennon just hit me or whatever it said. Chris, if you just let this go, this aggression with these wasps, they'll go too. That's what happened. I just let it go. So did the wasps. And I knew there would be a battle for another day. And I'm always prepared still. And that's just how it goes. What are you gonna do? Well, anyway, get your bucket salt. You don't have to have the horrors of bugs and stuff like that, like cockroaches coming in and carrying disease. Everyone's worried about COVID, and then you're gonna let these little pests come in. They got things that mutate with COVID. Who knows? You got the Chinese, Donald Trump's little infiltration, I don't know what. Something happens, man. I was the one who was warning you. And salt cures things. So what else are you going to do? And maybe you got a lizard, you want to feed it? Hey, man, no more problems. I'm helping you out, ladies and gentlemen. And so with bucket salt, so maybe get one. Asia represented, I'm represented too. I just have fun time with this product. And once you get your, animalistic killing spree out on them little bugs and little pests, hey man, even God smiles, because, you gotta get the little aggressions out. We're human beings. Read this book. That's a great fucking story. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like music and the blues, especially the blues and good horror, read this. Listen, Jimmy Page, I hope he has a copy of it. I'll try and get one then. Anyway, if you want to hear a funny story, I actually did mail Keith Richards a manuscript of this. I don't know if he got it. I actually sent it to Jack White too. In hindsight, I hope they just set the things on fire or whatever, because if I saw someone like why would someone send me it was in the realm of being published, and I was wanting to get someone's review, and I was like, man, if I can get a guitarist that's got principle behind it, there we go. Well, it didn't happen, but you can still get this copy of this book, and I think that something might be coming along, and another something too in San Francisco. So just keep your eyes and ears out, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll get there. I think I was going to recommend some Halloween movies. My favorite Halloween movie is Trick or Treat. I love it. And then Anna Paquin has this sexy werewolf scene in there, and who knows. Sometimes people like to make a joke about bestiality and all that, but hey man, he who makes a beast out of himself gets rid of the pain of being a man. So me, I'm pretty much a werewolf. But again, I've said it, don't come creeping with silver bullets. I take my time. I run off in the woods. I'm a werewolf in a good way. I go where there's homeless people and stuff, and I just chomp up all that stuff. Every now and then, someone's like, hey Chris, we got some hippies living in say no where there's a full moon tomorrow. I'll be right there. Well, no. I won't come creeping. I won't come creeping this Halloween or full moon around you, other than in spirit. So anyway, get your pumpkins ready. Put a candle in that bitch to ward off the evil spirits and everything. Get some candy ready for the kids. Because listen, if someone comes by and throws a brick or a piece of toilet paper or a firecracker through the window, that's your fault. Anyway, Also, I want to give a shout out to the Phi Delta Pi fraternity. We were founded on Halloween. So much love to my brothers, Devin Young, Scott Noble, Travis Sims, Jason Woods, Kareem Thomas. A bunch of other ones. I think I said Ian. I didn't mad because we had a crazy story about setting we set some some tires on fire. Because listen, man, if you're gonna be initiated in this fraternity, you gotta do something wild. We set some tires on fire, right? And this is in the spring or whatever. So we weren't too concerned about like things. If you did this in California, it'd be a horror show. But anyway, we just rolled them down the hill, and one of them did good. It hit a rock, and it almost made it to the creek, but it fell on its side. And I think the other one fell down and hit a tree, so we couldn't go after him or whatever. And there was we drove off, and the one fraternity brother, Matt, he's like, guys, that's a fire. And I'm looking out, and I'm like, oh, that ain't a bad one. And yeah, and there was no fire or anything like that. But we also had a fraternity brother that was in like the local fire department, so we would find out from him if it got bad. And who knows? Maybe he was having a poor night. Britain's not a fraternity, but we're doing him a favor. Go down there and put out that little fire by the creek. Scare the old people, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah, I think that's Nosotros Trabajamos Duro for you, man. We work hard, we go a little bit crazy, we like to celebrate. It's always a good time, people. If you're not having a good time, are you living life? That's for you to find out. I'm living. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, take care. Have a happy Halloween. And be beautiful. Check out Asian May.
Fuck all you hoes. Get a grip, motherfucker. Yeah. This album is dedicated to all the teachers that told me I never amount to nothing. To all the people that lived above the buildings that I was hustling from that called the police on me when I was just trying to make some money to feed my daughter. And all the niggas in the struggle. You know what I'm saying? It's all good, baby. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine. Hanging pictures on my wall. Every Saturday, rap attack Mr. Magic Marley Marl. I let my tape rock till my tape pop. Smoking weed and bamboo, sipping on private stock. Way back when I had the red and black lumberjack with the hat to match. Remember rapping Duke? The hard, you never thought that hip-hop would take it this far. Now I'm in the limelight cause I rhyme tight. Time to get paid, blow up like the world trade. Born sinner, the opposite of a winner. Remember when I used to eat sardines for dinner? Peace to Ron G, Brucey B, Kid Capri, Funk Master Flex, Love Bug, Star Ski. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. Call a crib, same number, same hood. It's all good. And if you don't know, now you know, nigga.
You knew very well who you are. Don't let them hold you down. We saw the stars. You had to go when I checked the name. 'Cause you're the only one I
I made the change from a common thief to up close and personal with Robin Leach. And I'm far from cheap. I smoke skunk with my peeps all day. Spread love, it's the Brooklyn way. The Moet and Alizé keep me pissy. Girls used to diss me, now they write letters cause they miss me. I never thought it could happen, this rapping stuff. I was too used to packing gats and stuff. Now honeys play me close like butter play toast. From the Mississippi down to the East Coast. Condos in Queens, indo for weeks. Sold out seats to hear Biggie Small speak. Living life without fear. Putting 5 carats in my baby girl ear. Lunches, brunches, interviews by the pool. Considered a fool cause I dropped out of high school. Stereotypes of a black male misunderstood. And it's still all good, And if you don't know, now you know, nigga.
You knew very well who you are. Don't let them hold you down. We saw the stars. You had to go when I picked the name. 'Cause you're the only one I'll give you good inclination.
Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. When I was dead broke, man, I couldn't picture this. 50-inch screen, money green leather sofa. Got 2 rides, a limousine with the chauffeur. Phone bill about 2 G's flat. No need to worry, my accountant handles that. And my whole crew is lounging, celebrating every day, no more public housing. Thinking back on my one-room shack. Now my mom pimps an act with minks on the back. And she loves to show me off, of course. Smiles every time my face is up in the sauce. We used to fuss when the landlord dissed us. No heat, wonder why Christmas missed us. Birthdays was the worst days. Now we sip champagne when we thirsty. Damn right I like the life I live. Cause I went from negative to positive and it's all. And if you don't know, now you know, nigga. And if you don't know, now you know, nigga. And if you don't know, now you know, nigga. Representing B-Town in the house. Junior Mafia, Math Label. Yeah.